Hola clase, hoy vamos a discutir la calidad de la vida en España. Today we're going to talk about quality of life in Spain. I really enjoy talking about this topic because it allows me to reflect on my own lifestyle here in the United States. After a 6-month study abroad in Spain, I realized how intense our American society can be. And it really has made me reflect on the importance of having a quality of life and what that pertains to. So, what I'm going to start talking about today is just the different pace of life in general that the Spanish lead, and talk about a different aspects and what makes them healthy and what makes them some of the healthiest people in the world. So, el día típico, a typical day for a Spaniard, el desayuno, es a las 8 normalmente. It's usually around 8 o'clock. Y normalmente no es muy pesado. It's not a very heavy meal. And so you might have a café, un yogur, una tortilla española, and maybe a pastry. For el almuerzo, so this is going to be your largest meal of the day. A lot of times people come home to eat with their families. You come home from your businesses, you come home from school, and you have your meal together. Now, that means a lot of things. That means that your city is walkable enough that you're able to go home for lunch and have a quick nap afterwards as well and return back to work. So that obviously has a huge impact on people's ability to do that. But in a lot of Spanish cities, this is what's happening every day. They go home for lunch around 1 o'clock where they'll have something like paella. This is a traditional Spanish dish. And they'll sit with their family. And then afterwards, they could take anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half siesta, which is a nap. And then they return to their activities. So if you're a student, maybe you're off to your club sports. If you are working, you might go back to your job. And so what a different aspect. Can you guys just think for a second in your life, if every day you could take at least an hour to yourself to rest and regroup and then continue on with the rest of your day, how would that affect you? And so that's something I love. And I was really American when I first went to stay in Spain with my Spanish family. And I was like, I'm going to go to the park and run every day. And I did that for about a week. And then afterwards, I decided to try the siesta. And since then, I've never really looked back and I have no regrets. So really amazing. But because I really was able to delve into the culture and get into a slower pace, it helped me realize how quick of a fast-paced life we live over here in the States. So for dinner, la cena, which can be anywhere from 8 o'clock afterwards, even 9 o'clock is more normal. They have something lighter like we do for lunch. So it might be something that you see here, like la tortilla española. Or it could also be un sandwich or una sopa. It could be a soup, something small. But what the majority of Spaniards do is they go out for tapas. And if you remember what tapas are, it's when you go out for some drinks and you usually get a free appetizer along with that. So for example, you could go out and have a glass of wine, and with that glass of wine is going to come a charcuterie board. So you might have los olivos, some queso, and some jamón serrano. And then you order another glass of wine, and your next tapa might be pulpo, which would be octopus. Again, you could go to another bar and they might have a different tapa feature that night. And you also don't always have to have an alcoholic drink. It could be water. It could be a soda. So then you order another beverage and they will bring out another tapa. Here you have papas bravas, which is potatoes covered in an aioli mayonnaise spicy sauce. It's delicioso, trust me. But what a unique concept, right? So for every drink you get a free appetizer. And this started for numerous different reasons. A way to keep yourself full as you socialize. But about hundreds of years ago, when there used to be lots of flies, they would put a piece of cheese over the wine glass to keep the flies out of the wine, and they would call it a tapa. Tapa means a top. And so that's where it originates from. But this is something that Spaniards will do 5 times a week. And it's very inexpensive. So a glass of wine might cost $3 to $4, and then you're getting really these great appetizers and Mediterranean diet as well. And even if you don't like seafood, there's so many different options. There's papas fritas. There's everything that you could possibly imagine. And people will go from bar to bar finding their favorite tapas. Now, in the south of Spain, in Granada, where tapas are very, very a part of the culture, they are free. But now if you go up to Madrid or maybe up to Barcelona, you might have to pay $1 for every tapa. So still really reasonable. And so this just puts a huge emphasis on the social aspect of their life. It's something I did a lot when I was there too, and I really started to appreciate it. So como se llama? These are all different tapas that I've mentioned. So I'm just trying to do your memory recall here. So se llama papas bravas. Here in el centro, you have calamares. And then at the end, this is la tortilla española. So this is really popular in Spain. It just has potato and some onion in it sometimes, a little bit of pepper. It's often can be eaten as a sandwich, also for breakfast, and also for a sandwich at evening time. It is absolutely delicioso. So how can a country known for its smoking habit, wine, and late nights have one of the highest life expectancies around the globe? So this is also really interesting. The Spaniards in general are known for staying out later. Well, they also eat their dinner around 9 o'clock. So by the time you're done with dinner and drinks, it might be 11, which is a later night for most people in general. But I think it's because they have that nap in the middle of the day. You know, it allows for them to stay out later in the evening. I know that my Spanish senora, when I'd come home at 2, 3 in the morning, she'd always ask me why I was home so early. And I was always just so amazed at this, because younger Spaniards sometimes don't come home till 6 or 7 on the weekends. You know, that's pretty typical. So, and an accepted behavior, which is also fascinating. So going deeper into this, how, they also do love to smoke. My Spanish senora went through a pack a day, and so did my senor. So I know maybe it's not as popular as it was 20 years ago when I was there, but also 20 years ago, you could still smoke in on the train, in movie theaters, in supermarkets, in banks. And so it was a very different world. But still, they do enjoy their fumando. So this is what does make them the healthiest country in the world. They follow a Mediterranean diet. And so they have a very fresh, unprocessed diet, which is really beneficial. About 37% walk or bike to work, and only 52% drive. Spain has the most walkable cities in the world. So a lot of people are walking every day. They walk more than any other country in Europe. Only 7% of Spaniards said they sit for more than 8.5 hours a day. Meanwhile, 26% of Americans sit more than 8 hours a day. So we have this percentile again, about 37% walk or bike. So also with that being said, they walk more than any other country, but they also have walkable cities. Their cities are so walkable that you can be home in 10 minutes and have a really nice lunch and nap and still return to work. That situation wouldn't work for me necessarily, because I have to drive physically 20 minutes to get where I'm going. So it's not necessarily ideal as much as I'd love it to be. So Spaniards have close family ties. Spain ranks at the top among European countries for having multi-generational households. Grandparents and grandchildren all living under the same roof. Even when they don't live together, they stay close. You can see families in the plaza all the time. They are out in the evenings having their tapas and their cerveza and their vino with their children playing. So they're very close-knit socially, and this really helps when you're with your overall health and your mental stress. And so with that being said, I just want you guys to reflect a little bit about how you can improve the quality of your life. One of the things I love about learning foreign languages is that it just really gives me an idea that there's other possible ways of living out there. We don't have to work 60 hours a week, and everything is not necessarily about money. There's plenty of things out there that can bring us happiness when we're talking about quality of life. And so what is that for you? Okay, well, it's been a great lesson today. I look forward to our next one. Que tenga buen día. Ciao.